Jumbo, beautiful people. Hello, beautiful people. And Aquaba, welcome to Espresso Talk Today. I'm Amma Robin, your host and guide for this story and reflection. As I sit here with my cup of cardamom coffee, I'm excited to share with you this time to remember history. Espresso Talk Today is a Black empowerment podcast show that confronts the chaos of living Black in predominantly white spaces. And that's what we're going to do today. Now, you may ask, what is this chaos? It's the chaos of being overlooked, stereotyped, degraded, or otherwise dehumanized in predominantly white spaces. But we don't stop at just confronting this chaos. We work to calm and control the chaos so that you can feel empowered, supported, and alive with dignity. Asante Sana, thank you for listening and for sharing this content with anyone you know experiencing this chaos or wants to feel empowered and supported today. Follow me on Instagram, that's AMA_ROBIN_L, and visit espressotalktoday.com for more tools and stories to inspire and calm and empower you. I have a story to tell you today. It's a true story. I wrote the story myself to give you a view of the importance and empowerment that comes from knowing Black history, as well as understanding and appreciating our culture. It's like a peek into living an empowered life, even amidst all the chaos of living Black in predominantly white spaces. Here's how this show will work. I'll read the story, then I'll do a short cleansing ritual. This cleansing ritual is inspired by Black cultural traditions and is meant to help you release stress and prepare for the reflection. Then we'll end this episode with some quiet time for reflection. I'll be here with you every step of the way at Espresso Talk Today. No one goes it alone. If you are driving or walking or otherwise up and about, please take care to stay vigilant of your safety and surroundings while listening to the story, and especially while doing the quiet reflection. Now, if you're home and relaxed and you fall asleep during this episode, I wish you sweet dreams of empowerment and calm. You can return to listen later if you like. In this episode, I'll share my true and deeply personal story about a wooden map of Africa that hung in my childhood home in California. It was more than just a decoration. It was a source of pride and power. It was a reminder of my Black roots and my history. Now it's time to begin. Take a deep breath in through your nose and then out through your mouth. Nice. One more time, please. Deep breath in. Slow release out. Let me take you back to when it all began. The map on the wall. I remember the first time I noticed the map on the wall. It was a map of Africa, made of wood, oak, I think, and it was hanging on the wall in my family's living room at our house in Northern California. It was carved with intricate details of the 50 or so countries. It was outlined, they were all outlined with care and its warm, natural wood tones seemed to glow under the soft light of our home. It wasn't something I gave much thought to at first. To me, it was just part of the living room decor, like the clock or the family photos. But as I grew older, I began to see it differently. But the map was always my father's pride and joy. At first, I didn't understand why. And he would tell anyone who asked about it that this map of Africa was more than just a decoration. This is a piece of us, he would say with a firm and pride-filled tone. Africa is where we come from, and this map reminds us of that every single day. Although my father was from Louisiana and my mother from Texas, he said it as a declaration, like a truth that could not be challenged, and no one did. Africa is where we come from. And for me, that planted a seed. It was quite large, the map was quite large and carved from oak, its presence both imposing and comforting at the same time. Sometimes I would read a few of the country names on the map. Kenya, Zimbabwe, Ethiopia. I would imagine what those countries looked like, what it felt like to live there, how the people lived, what the people ate. A seed was planted. My father often talked about the map, and through his talk of it, I was instilled with a love for my desire for knowledge about Black history and culture. And this was a knowledge that was never taught to me in school. I wanted to know about Africa. The only history that I ever learned in school was that Black people had been enslaved by white people and then freed by white people. That was it. This telling of history felt like a method of inferiorization for me as a Black child. It made me and the other Black students feel like powerless victims. On the other hand, the white students were presented as heroes and saviors, even in our story. I didn't realize it at the time, but this was exactly what Dr. Carter G. Woodson had sought to combat when he started Negro History Week in 1926, and this later became Black History Month. Dr. Woodson recognized the damage caused by miseducation and the deliberate erasure of Black history and the denigration of Black culture, all happening at the same time. As he said, to handicap a student by teaching him that his Black face is a curse and that his struggle to change his condition is hopeless is the worst form of lynching. And that's what it felt like in school, a form of lynching, cutting us off from our roots and our power and our future. But at home, it was a different story. My older brother and I learned about Black history. We learned that our people had built great kingdoms and centers of learning. We were skilled farmers and traders, artisans, scientists, philosophers, and healers. We learned that we did not need to feel shame that our ancestors had been enslaved. We learned that they fought to survive and thrive. They fought for freedom. The map became a constant reminder of these truths looming over me as a symbol of connection to Black people everywhere. The map countered the false narratives taught in school. and the map rooted me in a history and culture far greater than I had ever known, but not greater than I had imagined. Tanzania, Nigeria, Rwanda. Was it warm there? The map got a lot of attention beyond my family. Some people were just curious about it, but others made fun of the map. They laughed at it. They ridiculed it. My father explained that people didn't understand the importance and greatness of Africa. They didn't understand that the map was a symbol of Black pride and power. Over time, I came to see that the ridicule the map sometimes received wasn't about the map itself. It was about something deeper. Their ridicule was an attempt to erase the truth about Africa. It was a discomfort with recognizing African culture and acknowledging its power. Sometimes it felt like a rejection to seeing Africa as part of our story as Black people in America. But yet, I still felt that connection and lived that story every day. Madagascar, Senegal, Ghana. What time was it there? What were the people doing now? Never forget where you came from, my father would say. Even if they try to make you forget or they ridicule you, you just hold on. I've carried those words with me ever since. The map became a symbol of resilience, of identity, and of pride. Every time I looked at it, I felt a connection to something bigger than myself, something unshakable, something great. When I moved out on my own, I did not have the map with me. Its presence has always been with me. In my heart, it hung on every wall, in every space I occupied. And when I began to study Black history and culture more deeply, I realized just how much that map had taught me. It wasn't just a reminder of Africa as a place. It was a reminder of the strength and beauty of Black identity, of my identity. Now, as I reflect during Black History Month, I think about that map so often. I think about the lessons it taught me, about the pride my father instilled in me, and about the importance of symbols that ground us in who we are. Congo, Benin, Namibia. How long does it take to get there? It's not just about history, though. It's about connection, resilience, and the power of claiming our stories, even when others try to erase them. As Dr. Carter G. Woodson wisely said, the mere imparting of information is not education. Black history is not just something I've learned. It's something that has become part of me, woven into my DNA, much like the memory of that wooden map of Africa. That wooden map of Africa? Yes, it is more than just a decoration. It's a declaration, and it will always be a part of me. Asante Sana. Before we begin our quiet time reflection, let's take a moment to prepare ourselves with a cleansing ritual. In many African and Black traditions, water has long been a symbol of renewal, healing, and connection to our ancestors. If you can, take a moment to pour yourself a glass of water, or simply close your eyes and imagine the sound of a gentle stream flowing. Feel its coolness and imagine it washing over you, cleansing away the day's stress and distractions. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale now, let go of anything that feels heavy or unkind. Feel the space you're creating within yourself, a space for reflection, connection, and growth. Now, let's light a mental candle of intention. And this practice is rooted in the idea of calling forth clarity and focus. Think of this candle as illuminating your path to the symbols and stories that ground you in your history and culture. Now that we've explored the story of the wooden map and its meaning in my life, I want to invite you to take a moment to reflect on your own symbols. Think about the objects or traditions in your home, in your family, or in your community that connect you to your history or to your culture. Ask yourself, what do these symbols mean to me? How have they shaped my identity? And how can I honor their significance in my daily life? Take another deep breath. And as you exhale, let your mind drift to those symbols. Maybe it's a family photograph, a song, a recipe, or something else entirely. What feelings or memories do they evoke? What do they remind you about who you are and where you came from? As you reflect, let these thoughts anchor you. Feel the strength and pride in your connection to your history and culture, and let it guide you, just as the wooden map has guided me. Asante Sana for participating in this cleansing ritual and the quiet time reflection. And you could always go back and do the reflection again on your own. I have finished my cardamom coffee, so I think now's a good time to start winding down this podcast show. Black History Month is a time for reclaiming our stories and reconnecting with the roots that ground us. As we reflect on the stories of our past, we're reminded of the resilience, strength, and beauty that's woven into our history and culture. These stories aren't just about the past. They are guides for our present and pathways for our future. And remember, this time for reclaiming our stories and reconnecting with our roots is a feeling and practice that we can do all year round, every single day. Before we close, take a moment to hold on to this feeling the episode has created for you. Maybe it's a sense of connection, of pride, or simply quiet calm. Whatever it is, let it settle into your spirit like the roots of a tree, grounding you firmly in your identity and truth. If you feel inspired, please share this story with someone in your life who might need to hear it. A friend, a family member, or anyone who could benefit from a moment of calm and empowerment. And you can also join the conversation on Instagram at AMA_ROBIN_L, or visit Espresso Talk today. More tools and reflections like this one. Asante Sana for sharing this time with me and for honoring your story and history. I'll see you next time, where we'll continue this journey together. Until then, take a deep breath, carry this calm with you, and remember, you're grounded, you're powerful, and your story matters. Ashe Fem.